Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So Jay, probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were talking to someone who's inside the sport, and they felt that at the moment, Terence Crawford had Errol Spence basically over a barrel. They felt that Terence Crawford had more options than Errol Spence, and just considering the results of the fight, that Terence was really going to be in the driver's seat, and that's probably the reason why they started the negotiation process. Well, as we sit here today, I would say that that's probably reversed. That Errol Spence is now in a better position in relative to his negotiating posture. Um, when you think about the fact that Terence Crawford had been advocating for a fight between he and Canelo Alvarez, and Alvarez essentially said he's not interested in the fight. Not only that, we started to hear rumblings that Alvarez's next two fights would be against David Benavidez as well as Jaime Munguia. It doesn't seem like Terence Crawford is going to be in the Canelo Alvarez sweepstakes, and I can perfectly understand that, right? So when you think about Crawford's options, right, his options would be really maybe like a Tim Tszyu, because we know that Mel actually has a mandatory coming up. I can't remember which title it's for, but there was a mandatory that was established right after the Canelo Alvarez fight. So Mel more than likely won't be next unless somehow they pay step aside money in order for Mel to take that fight. And Terence Crawford has already stated on the record that he doesn't have any interest in really making that fight anymore. And I can understand why, considering the performance of Jermell Charlo. More than likely that that fight is no longer I would say an attractive offer or option for Terence Crawford. Now, Terence Crawford, his fans are going to say that it's all about legacy for Terence Crawford, and I do believe that a lot of this is about legacy. And I think Terence Crawford is going to position himself to make history. I think that's what he wants to try to do. However, I also think Terence Crawford is also motivated by Moolah Green. And I'm not knocking Terence Crawford for being motivated by money, because at the end of the day, it is about building generational wealth. And I've said this on multiple occasions. I hope both of those gentlemen build generational wealth. As a matter of fact, I hope all those boxers build generational wealth. That's what it's about, passing on those dollars to your family. But when you think about Terence Crawford's current position, no Canelo Alvarez fight. You can advocate for it all you want to, and that's partially the reason why you haven't heard anything out of Terence Crawford's mouth probably over the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, in regards to Canelo Alvarez, because I think he knows that fight is not going to happen. So now that you've taken those options away from Terence Crawford, what's his best option? Regardless of the outcome of the first fight, it's still Errol Spence. So Errol is now in a better position because that fight right there is going to be his biggest money fight. But not only that, if they are smart in the way that they market this fight, they can still make a ton of money. You just got to make sure that you are putting out the correct narrative in order to sell the fight. And I'm just being transparent and real with you guys. You guys understand how this thing works. Real smart boxing fans do. So I think Errol is going to be in a position where he can negotiate, or that he can negotiate with Terence Crawford. This fight is likely going to be at 154 pounds because Terence doesn't have as many bargaining chips as he did before. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't fight Errol, who are you going to fight to make the same amount of money? I don't think there's anybody out there that you're going to be able to fight, right? So those are my thoughts. I think Errol won't have to give up much in these negotiations in terms of getting Terence Crawford back in the ring. And I think you'll probably hear some news about that maybe in the next couple of weeks. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we've always said that with Bud, if he stayed at 147, he has to fight Boots. That would be his biggest fight at 147, but it's not a big money fight. We know Terence says he wants legacy, but he also wants the money.
Yeah.
The biggest bang for his buck right now that's available for him is the go forth with that Spence rematch that's already been activated at 154. We already know he's not in the Canelo sweepstakes. He never was really in the sweepstakes. People were just throwing it out there, just like they're throwing out after Canelo beat Sergey Kovalev. Oh, he might go up to light heavy. He might go up to heavyweight next. He might go up to this, in cruiserweight and whatnot. And then a little reality hit called Dimitri Bivol, and all of a sudden, they're too big for him that weight. So it's no difference with Bud. I think Spence really needs to go ahead and really try to push this to happen sooner than later, and he has to make sure he's showing that he's really serious about this fight, that it's going to be a competitive fight, that he's really trying to get his lick back. And just get his win back, and get it back, showing that he is a top fighter, but it's not so many levels above him as it showed in that prior fight. So with Bud, he's pretty much stuck between a rock and a hard place as far as where he goes next. I mean, Tim Tszyu is talking about he'll fight Bud, but you gotta pay Tim. You gotta pay Tim, and Tim's gonna go for that money because he fought 3 or 4 times this year. He feels screwed over by Mel going up to fight Canelo instead of fighting him. So, Tim feels a certain type of way, and I'm not mad at him. Tim has definitely been putting in the work this year. Now, as far as Mel goes, the fighter he has to fight for his mandatories is the IBF fighter from Russia. That's who he has the mandatory for with the IBF, which is Bakram. I can't pronounce this dude's last name.
I know. Anyway. I know. As soon as you look down at his name, when you look down and you didn't say his name immediately, I said, "Oh, he can't pronounce it."
But he's in the IBF. He's the IBF mandatory. Bakram Murtazalev, something like that. But yeah. So Mel's out of the picture, and also Bud said he didn't want to fight Mel anyway. After Mel's performance against Canelo, which is understandable. But if I'm Bud, I'm like, I fight him to get these 3 belts and then fight Tszyu to get so I can be undisputed. But it's not a sexy fight. The sexy fight, right? The only sexy fight really for Bud is to fight Spence again at 154, get that out of the way, and then he can go whatever he wants because that'll be his second fight, his last fight in the deal, the 2-fight deal he had with PBC. And he can go wherever he wants, and then he'll be able to try to maneuver around, especially if he's successful in another fight against Spence, who knows where the 154-pound division will be for him to try to get another undisputed. Who knows? Mel would have already fought. Hopefully Tim Tszyu would have already fought, and then he'll be in line to try to get another undisputed, or at least get 3 belts and then get another shot at undisputed in another fight.
Yeah, I mean, again, if Terence Crawford is really just truly interested only in the legacy fight, then one play that he could make is try to stall out the Spence fight, try to get the Tim Tszyu fight, and then see what Mel looks like when he comes back in his next fight. The Mel fight. Yeah, but my thing is,
I think he's coming back.
Regardless of Mel's performance, I just don't think that fight's going to be big. Mel is not. Yeah, Mel's name is not big enough. A lot of people feel like Terence Crawford's name is huge right now. I'm skeptical that his name is as big as some of the people on our channel believe it is. I'm skeptical of that. So we'll see if that's the case. If Terence believes that his name is as big as some of his fans do, then yeah, you could make a Jamel fight because according to Easy Bands, it'll do 800,000 because Crawford did 650 by himself. So, and I'm using Easy Band as an example because a lot of the fans are just like him, and that's my guy. I love Easy Band. But yeah, I think right now Errol Spence is in the catbird seat relative to making this fight happen at 154. Terence Crawford is probably going to get some additional compensation, if you will. I don't know if that's going to be income or otherwise, but definitely some level of compensation. But I don't think it's going to be maybe what he hoped it to be, or maybe I don't think he's in the same position where he thought he might be in order to, basically have these guys over a barrel. But we'll see what ends up happening. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.